Hi guys, welcome back to Bumble BFFs. I'm Maggie, and this week I'm doing a solo episode, so I invited my boyfriend Tom to join me.
Hello everyone, I'm Tom. I play the boyfriend.
We're basically just gonna be talking about how we met, our relationship, and just kind of plan.
See where it goes.
Yeah. We're gonna start off this week's episode by asking you some questions about me.
Okay.
I'm excited to hear your answer. You're not?
There's wrong answers. I know there's wrong answers.
No.
Yeah.
They're just silly little questions. The first one I have is, what is my love language?
Acts of service. I know this one too well. Because that's kind of like, that's 50% of my day when you come home. It's like you go take a nap, you sit down on the couch.
Okay, I don't take a nap every day.
Well, that's not every day. But I'm saying, if you come home and you take a nap, I have to be the one to come and like bring all the water, the snack, gotta make sure the temperature's right, make sure the AC's on, even though the AC is like 5 feet away from the bed.
Sorry about that. My dogs were fighting.
They're just excited to have me on the podcast.
They're so excited. They're like, oh my god, mom and dad.
It's the best day ever.
But yeah, every night before bed, I'm like, okay, can you bring me a sweet treat? Mm-hmm. Can you bring me some water?
Yep. I gotta sit in my office where I usually am with my phone on ringer.
Yeah.
Because I tend to miss phone calls or texts a lot. It's really funny when you use like the Google Nest to like be like, hey. I'll be like, what the hell is that noise?
I know. It's a toss up. I either play music through our HomePod or I'll talk over the camera and I'm like, enter your phone.
The camera one is always so fun. I did it to you one time. And I scared the shit out of you. Remember that?
Yeah, I do.
I forget where you were cleaning or something. Yeah. And I was away, and I was like, "Hey," and you were like,
"I know."
You like had a heart attack. You didn't even know what to do. Whereas that happens to me every time you do it.
Be a man.
It's scary though, because I'm like, that's not. Because it doesn't sound like you. It sounds like
it's muffled and
it's
weird.
It's pretty muffled, and the Google Nest doesn't have a speaker on it at all, really. No. So it's like. I don't even know how to explain it. Yeah, it's like really raspy. It sounds like something out of like a horror movie almost. They're watching you.
I just wanted my sweet tweet.
I know. I get it. And that's why recently I've been good about it.
You have, yeah.
I've been leaving my phone on ringer.
Yeah.
Putting the volume up really loud. And then also in the hours of like 9 to like 10:30, I know it's going to happen. Mm-hmm. If it happens after 10:30, I'm like, what's going on?
I know. Usually I'm sleeping.
There's something wrong. I'll even come in and check on you. I'll be like, everything good? Lights are off. So this is going to be a really choppy episode if you're watching on YouTube, mainly because I think our dogs are just really excited, and we have a water bowl like right over there.
Yeah.
And they're just very thirsty today, I guess. Moon's usually with me. That's usually how it goes. Whenever they do the podcast, I'm kind of like off to the side. Not really off to the side. I'm actually in an entirely different room with the door shut. And Moon. It's just me and Moon. Because Moon is the troublemaker. She's the one who doesn't sit still. She's always making noise. Like, now he's sitting here perfectly fine.
Mama, on the other hand, just lays.
Moon is, Moon's doing Moon things right now.
Just licking the gate. That kind of brings me into a question I had, which is, who's my favorite animal?
Maui, because Maui's literally your spirit animal.
My spirit animal. Trick question. I'll
favorite...
never admit it.
Okay. Favorite animal, then? Like,
no, my favorite pet.
Your favorite pet.
But it's a trick question.
Okay.
I love them all.
We love our animals. Just kidding. No, you obviously love them all. Wait, I want to talk about the cats a little bit.
Go for it.
No, I don't like the cats that much. They don't like me either. It's not like it's I hate them. It's just that it's like how you live with a roommate that you're just like, you didn't ask for the roommate. The roommate was kind of just assigned to you, out of your control. So for some backstory,
these cats were my like childhood cats. They're pretty old. They're probably like 10 and 11 now.
It's depending on the day, depending on what you want to tell someone. Sometimes we'll be like, they're like 13.
Okay, well, they're old though. They're like definitely, Chloe, the older one, is definitely over 10, and Nutmeg's like either 10 or getting to 10. But not the point. They're old.
Yeah.
And
they abuse me.
They don't abuse
They hate me so much.
First of all, these are sweet little girls.
Yeah.
They don't do anything. Yeah. They don't like fight you or bite you or anything.
Yeah. Anyone who's ever met them, they love them.
Yeah.
Everyone loves Nutmeg to death.
But the point is that we did not have these cats like when I first moved here, which we'll talk more about, like moving in together and everything. Mm-hmm. But we did not have the cats. And then they kind of just got thrown into our lap, and we took them in because like it was like that or like who knows what. So we took them.
It was an ultimatum. It was like we're not heartless people. Like even I was excited for the cats. I was like, "Ooh, we're getting cats," but we don't have like the biggest apartment. And then it was like the cats either go to another family, which you had these cats for, like you said, since they were born, right? Essentially, they were kittens. So now they're gonna go somewhere else, which is they're kind of old to adapt. And then it's like, okay, we can just take them in and see how that goes. 4 animals underneath the house.
How's it going?
Under the roof. I mean,
depends on the day.
Yeah.
The only thing that they do, well, Nutmeg meows a lot, and Tom works from home, and so he's like dealing with it 24/7, and I totally get why that's annoying. I would also be so annoyed. But for me, I'm like, I go to work, I come home, I'm like, oh, hey, girls.
Yeah, you see the best in everyone. You don't see like their like all day thing where it's like Nutmeg could start meowing at 9 o'clock in the morning. She will not stop
until like 9 p.m.
Until 9 p.m.
Yeah.
Depends on the day. She'll start meowing at like noon, which is like a good day at this point. It used to be she would meow for like an hour before dinner.
Yeah, it was only at dinner time, and I think you give into it. I think you're her little bitch.
I notice it when you come home, because sometimes I'll meow at her just like for fun, and that just riles her up. She hates that.
She's like, we're talking? All right, we're talking.
All right, we're yelling now. Yeah. So sometimes I'll meow at her and I go, why did I do that? Because now she just won't stop meowing.
See, you started it.
I also think she distinguishes meows between me telling her to like stop.
Yeah.
If I'm like, stop, she's like, yeah, he's talking back, let's go.
I know. She just wants love.
That's not true.
Well, enough about the cats. Okay.
Yeah. This is about you.
This is about my questions.
Yes, sorry. I'm hijacking this podcast. It's mine now.
It's okay. Where is my happy place?
Oh. You don't really talk about a happy place very often.
If you had to like guess, like what would you think my happy place would be?
It's a beach or somewhere. I get it?
Yeah.
Okay.
A beach.
Yeah, a good beach though. Not like a rocky beach.
No,
like a nice sandy Florida.
A beach I can like go in the water and not feel like I'm gonna die. You know?
Cold wise, because if it's warm, you might die in the water, because that's where fun critters like to live.
Mm-hmm. What are my favorite TV shows?
I like the guilty pleasure one of Vampire Diaries. Always fun.
Vampire Diaries is like, I grew up watching it. Me and my brother would watch it together, and it was like our bonding thing. Mm-hmm. And then we watched it like at the beginning of our relationship, or maybe before we were dating. I think before,
yeah. I think we were like threw it on just for fun because it was like.
But like we watched like 3 seasons in like a week. Like it was crazy.
Yeah. We did that with a lot of shows, like Shameless too.
Yeah.
Shameless, we absolutely shredded through.
I know. We used to be bingers, and now Tom gets to episode 2, and he's like, I'm done.
Well, that's when we were like visiting each other for like weeks at a time, right? Yeah. So I'd be like, I'd come down and visit. I'd be like, okay, this is just our time. I'm going to spend it all with her.
Yeah.
Now it's like I see you every day, every minute.
So essentially. You can't watch a TV show?
Well, no, I'm just kidding. I like spending time with you. It's just that sometimes it's like, oh, I'd spend like an hour here, and then go do my own thing, and you do your own thing. Sometimes you don't even want to watch it. Sometimes you're like, you know.
You're right, yeah.
Okay, but
other shows.
Yeah, I like to go on tangents a lot.
It's okay.
I wish I had like a little bit of a cheat sheet so I could like had like something before this instead of thinking.
No cheat sheets.
You like The Bear right now. I don't know if that's like your favorite.
It's like what we're watching. I like it. I don't think it would be considered my favorite.
Wow.
It might be in like a year, but.
I know shows that you liked. Like I showed you Game of Thrones. And
yes!
That's your favorite show?
I mean, that was probably Game of Thrones, Breaking Bad, Ozark.
You would say, really?
Yeah.
You never were that like.
What do you mean?
Oh my god, I love that show. If we would just say it in passing, you'd be like, I really like that show.
We watched the whole thing together.
I know we did.
I liked it.
Yeah. Well, there's one point where you were like, I hate this show.
I think it's the same point where everyone was like, I hate this show.
Yeah, season 3, Red Wedding. You're like, this is the worst show ever.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm not watching this show anymore. And I'm like, we're not even halfway done.
I know.
I felt almost like
But I do feel like, no spoilers, but from that episode on.
The show came out in 2011. If you haven't watched it, come on. I get it though.
Yeah. But like, if you know, you know.
If you know, you know. Like, and everyone knows the Red Wedding is like something that everyone knows what it means. No one knows what it like. If you haven't seen it, you don't know what it means. Yeah. But yeah, you were devastated. I mean, I was devastated. I cried when I first saw it.
I cried.
I had no one to watch it with.
Okay. Now for the fun ones. What's my best quality?
Best quality?
Yeah.
You may not think it yourself, but you're great with people. Whenever you, like, for example, recently, like, new jobs and, like, nannying and stuff like that, the families just adore you. But you come home and you're like, oh, that was exhausting. And I'm like, yeah, because, like...
Because I'm on.
You're on it.
Yeah.
Well, you're like
I'm on all day. So I come home and I just want to be, like, off. You know?
It's like, I think, like, everyone has their public persona and their private, right? Like, come home, do whatever you want. But your public is just, like, so friendly. Everyone likes you.
Yeah.
And then you come home and you're like, I'm going to go sit and watch TikTok on the couch.
I know. I recharge. I am an introvert. I definitely recharge at home.
I think your batteries need longer recharge than mine do. Depends on if I get into a role. Like, if I'm,
but you also work from home. And so, like, you're not really, like, going out and, like, exhausting yourself. You're home, like, part working, part recharging.
I know. My social life is just taking a dip because of working from home.
Yeah.
This is the funny. I said this before the podcast started. I was like, I talk to you all day, and now it's like, okay, now I gotta, like, do an hour of it. Like, we talk all the time. Like, what are we gonna talk about? It should be random stuff. And you know me, like, I just talk out of my ass 24/7 about the randomest shit. So, yeah, like we're doing right now.
Exactly.
So maybe I'm actually good for this.
Yeah, you're saying you can't talk to me?
Yeah, right.
All right. What's your favorite thing about me?
Oh, that was your best quality. I was thinking so before. Was your best quality?
Yeah.
My favorite thing about you is everything.
Wow, you really have to think about that for a shitty answer.
Well, then I was like, I mean, I like your personality a lot. Although it's funny because the way we first met, which we'll get to, was through the exact opposite of that.
Yeah.
You know, it's through looks because it's a dating app.
Yeah.
So now it's like, oh, she has a personality that goes alongside her looks. Okay, that's actually like, that's great.
Weren't expecting that one.
I know, right? We get along pretty well. So.
All right. Last question.
All right, Keegan. What is this?
When are you proposing?
Okay. So, no, I get asked this question a lot from people other than you. Like, good. My work, like, friends know this. Yeah. Or even my mentor at work was just like,
I had to ask.
You guys been dating for a while. And now all my friends are getting married too.
I know.
So every single day, it's like I pissed you off the other day because I was like, oh, one of my friends are getting married. And that was like the first thing I said in the morning.
I wasn't pissed off, but I was just like, fucking could be me.
I set you on, like, it could have been like a good morning, but it was like, hey, my buddy got engaged.
Yeah. And I was like,
I know.
What the fuck? All right.
Like the whole day you're like looking at your finger all day, and I was like, oh, okay.
I know. Well, we'll see.
To be determined.
To be determined. But that is all the questions I have to ask. Mm-hmm. So I guess we could just start with, like, how we met, which...
How did we meet?
Bumble.
Who messaged first? Just kidding.
Me.
I got a message one day.
Yeah, I want to hear your
December 2nd.
December 2nd.
Yeah, I have the screenshots on my phone.
What year?
I had to go 2018, which is so long ago.
I know.
Pretty girl, nice husky pictures, always good. You know, you see
husky.
Husky, sorry.
I only had one.
Yeah, and that was it. And I was like, wow, that's a beautiful dog, a beautiful girl. I'm gonna swipe on her, and then it's Bumble, so you had to swipe back.
Yeah.
And you said, hey.
Hey.
Along with, I'm assuming, 50 other guys, because that is a lame thing to say.
Hey.
It's so easy for girls to just be like, hey, and the guy's like, oh my god, girl.
I don't know. This was also, 2018, so, like, dating apps were, like, a thing, but they weren't as much of a thing. Like, it was kind of taboo to, like, meet someone on a dating app.
Yeah, we, like, were lying.
Yeah, like, for the first, like, 2 years, we were like, oh, we met at a party, you know? And then now we're just like, okay, we met on Bumble.
Yeah, so people were like, I thought you met at a party, and I was like, no, it was just Bumble. And I was also like, yeah, like you said, it just was weird. Yeah. And even though Tinder had been around for a while, we weren't using Tinder.
No.
But it was like, oh, you met on Tinder? Like,
yeah.
It's like, okay.
I do feel like Bumble was, like, the more wholesome one, you know?
Yeah, I guess so.
I messaged you on Bumble.
Mm-hmm. I also didn't even talk about how I even interpreted it. I just completely go on a tangent.
Okay, yeah, go.
I think it was like a couple days later you said to come over. And I was like, okay. So I just sent it. Was like, yeah, sure. How long is this drive? Okay, it's 40 minutes. I got nothing to do tonight. It was like a weekday too. Like I had class. I was still in college at the time. and I was living in like the other side, like I guess like the far east side of Rhode Island, and she was in Connecticut. If you're familiar with like where Mystic, Connecticut is.
Yeah, because he went to URI, so you were in Narragansett.
It was about a 40-minute drive, like through like the woods. Drove over there, pulled up at like 10:30 probably.
Late.
Yeah, it was not early. It was like a very like spur of the moment. Like, I'm meeting this girl on Bumble. It's late. I wonder what. And then you answered the door. I remember you were wearing like a tank top, like a spaghetti strap kind of thing, and like a black sweatshirt that was like, you had it down like off your shoulders. And you were wearing like sweatpants. And then Maui was just going crazy. Like,
she was so excited.
Yeah, she was like, oh, new person. She was like biting my hands. You know, my hands were covered. Like I had like go wash my hands like twice. And we just like sat on the couch, talked a little bit, and then.
From my perspective, like, I like messaged you to come over or whatever, not expecting you to say yes. So then when you said yes, I was like, fuck, I gotta get ready. Like, it's like 10 p.m.
I called your
like,
bluff.
Yeah, I was like, oh shit, what do I do? So I like tried to get ready really quickly. My mom was like out for the night, and so that's kind of why I was like,
she wasn't out. She was actually just right upstairs.
Well, yeah, I wasn't gonna call her out, but okay.
I didn't know that. You're like, yeah, you're like, my mom's away, and I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then
I was like, she's upstairs, be quiet.
Yeah.
So because my mom is a travel nurse, and that's why I was in Connecticut with her on her assignment. So it kind of was just like happenstance that we met. I mean, obviously it was Bumble, but like,
yeah, you'd only been there for like a couple months too.
Yeah.
And your her contract was almost up.
Yeah, but I also had only had Bumble for like a week maybe.
So did I.
Yeah.
I had not had it that long because I was just like,
no.
It was like December, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know, just like that time of year, feel lonely.
Gloomy.
Yeah.
Need someone to take home for the holidays.
It was cuffing season, and I was. I remember driving there, and I was like, this could be the start of something special. I do remember driving and seeing, like, looking at that, and then I do remember that kind of moment a little bit, and then the rest of it was just like almost not a blur, but it was like everything happened. I know. But it also felt like the longest time as well, because we did so many things.
I know.
Because I came over, and then I left at like 4 a.m.
Yeah.
On a Wednesday or a Tuesday or
I know.
I don't know. It wasn't a Friday. It was like a middle of the week thing.
You guys want to know something funny?
Okay.
Tom left his boxers.
Okay. In my defense, it was winter and it was cold because it's New England. I was wearing 2 shorts, so it was like I was wearing sweatpants and shorts.
Yeah.
On top of the boxers, because it was like it's the comfy thing to do. I don't know. If you ask any like guy around here, they might do it too. So it was like boxers, nice basketball shorts, and then sweatpants. My pants came off eventually. So I put my shorts back on, and then I put my sweatpants back on. I'm like, okay, I got 2 layers on. That's usually how it goes. I didn't think any question of it. I'm probably also delirious. It's 4
In my head, I'm like, oh, he left them because he wants to come back and get them.
I left my penguin boxers.
Yeah, they were penguins. They were so ugly. I was like, ew.
I should have left like some nice ones.
But. I know, right? But after that, because the majority of the time that we like hung out that night, we were just talking.
Yeah.
Like we were basically just like trauma dumping on each other, like talking about everything.
Yeah.
And then the next time we hung out, we like went to Panera.
That was the one where I didn't pay for your food and you still talking about it.
Yeah, I do. I got a fucking bagel. It's like $4 and you didn't buy it.
I'm a feminist. I like the equal rights. So you pay for your food, I pay for my food.
Asshole.
We weren't dating. I don't know. I know in retrospect, obviously I would pay for
Well, to be fair, you didn't pay for my food for like months.
We weren't dating for months.
Okay, whatever.
I paid for stuff.
Anyways, why did I stay?
I don't know why you stayed at all. I still wonder this question.
But after like hanging out for a little bit, something kind of major happened in my life where I wanted to vent to someone, and you were the closest person to me in like I didn't know anyone, closest? Like physically closest person to me.
I also didn't
and you were like far enough away where like I didn't want to like open up to people that like knew what was going on.
Yeah, it's a weird subject, and I could.
Should I talk about it or no? Like I don't know.
You should save that. It's a story in its own.
Yeah.
But I got the messages and I was like, this is wild stuff. I even shared it with some of my friends and they're like, dude, this is crazy. And I was like, well, clearly there's something thinks I'm a nice person.
Yeah,
you know?
I just wanted like someone to vent to.
Yeah, you wanted
that like was unbiased and like you didn't really know me that well. You know?
I had no clue. I was like, this is crazy. Okay, cool. And then we
like hung out and I think talked about it. But you were like there for me through that, which I think is why I'm trauma bonded to you.
Yeah, you can't get away from me.
I can't. Get me away.
And then I remember the next thing was you always said that you wanted to go to New York City. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, well, we're only 3 hours away. And I remember we were just driving around. There's not much to do in Mystic, Connecticut. No. I mean, it's cute. I like Mystic, Connecticut, but you can't do like a whole lot of stuff when you're just kind of like.
Well, I wasn't only 21. So much to do.
You were.
I wasn't 21, obviously. Like, yeah.
So then we were just driving. I remember that was the day that we found like a dog. Yeah, it was like some dog. This is like once you go outside Mystic, Connecticut, it's just woods. So like in this back road, there's like this big shepherd or something.
Wasn't there two?
There was two.
Yeah, we found two dogs.
But like at first it was like there's our dog.
She's like, dog?
You can't be talking about dogs. There was one dog. It was in the street, and I was like, what the hell? Like I thought it was like a deer or something, and
I'm like, pull over.
I know. You're like, oh, we gotta find the owner. And I'm like, we're in the middle of the woods.
But we did find the owner.
Yeah, the house wasn't too far, and then like the guy, it was also like this dog's big. I don't know. Like you didn't care at the time about dogs. No. Because you had never been like had an incident with dogs.
Now I have.
Now you have.
Yeah.
So now I think if you're looking back, you'd be like, I don't know if I'd
be a little nervous.
Yeah. So I was a little bit like. Also, the dog came up to the window.
Oh, it was a sweetie sweetheart.
You never know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Dogs can be super sweet, and they're like, "Here, I'm just gonna bite your hand."
Yeah.
But that's just like the pessimist, I guess, in me right there.
Yeah.
So then. I love you, Moon, but you are the worst, like, person to have on set.
The worst co-host ever.
Not even a co-host. She's like the boom mic guy, and then the boom mic guy just has a really bad breathing problem. So like he's just nearest to the mic at all times, but he's also the loudest person. That's Moon.
That is Moon. Anyway, basically, we were driving. And we were like just kind of driving around, and we'd already gone pretty far from Mystic.
You'd already been everywhere in Mystic at the time. This is like the third or fourth time.
Yeah, and so you were like, I was talking about how I wanted to go to New York.
Yeah, it's your favorite place in the world.
Should I do it? And I was like, you won't.
Yeah.
And you did.
I did, because we were already on 95 South, which is the only way to New York City from where we were. Yeah. And it was like, all right, I'm just gonna keep going. We already missed your exit.
I know.
We missed the next two exits.
I remember I was like, oh shit, should I tell my mom?
I know, and I was like, I don't know, like, I'm at college, right?
Yeah, like you don't have to.
I haven't told my mom what I have done in like 3 years.
Yeah, so I like texted my mom, and she was like, have fun. So we went to New York. We got there at like midnight.
Like 11:30.
Yeah, and so like we couldn't do anything.
We were in Times Square.
Everything was closed, but we had fun. We were like walking around. It was freezing cold.
It was January.
Yeah.
Or maybe even still December.
I don't know.
I think it was still before Christmas, because because this was also during finals week. What was I doing? I wasn't studying.
Your mind was elsewhere.
A little bit. I was a little caught up in stuff. I remember because everyone had left. Everyone like would go off to like their like hometown or whatever, like for winter break, which is a month, right? And I remember I was still talking to my friends who were still there.
Yeah, you didn't.
I never really did. Well, I think it was also because of you. I like being close to you.
So yeah, we were spending a lot of time together. And then I do think I want to mention it was so funny the first time that I drove to see you.
Oh, was that New Year's?
Yeah, for a New Year's party.
Yep.
So Tom had been telling me that it was like 20 minutes.
Oh yeah, I never even said that yet.
You never told me like how far you were actually driving to come get me.
Yeah, I was like a little embarrassed about being like, wow, I don't want her to think like, that's kind of in retrospect so douchey. Like being like it's just down the road, you know, and just kind of see it. But it's like, no, I'm taking my time on my way. I'm driving 40 minutes, 45.
45, 50.
Well, for me, it was 40.
Yeah.
For you, you're like, what? When is this going to end? It's just one long road.
I know. So the first time I went there, and like, this is actually, I didn't drive there.
Yeah.
I had my neighbor drive me there, who my mom had like become friends with. So he drove me there, me and John, on our way to Tom's house. And he like dropped me off, and it was so funny. I was like, it feels like my like dad dropping me off, but he's like, nah. I had
met your mom up to that point. Because remember your mom one time came out to the car and it was like raining, and she was like, "You better take care of my daughter." And I was like, "Oh, we're just going to Panera or something."
Yeah.
And then,
you're like, okay.
Yeah. It was the first time she thinks we met.
Yeah.
Or the first time I met you.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I remember John dropped you off, and I was like, "What do I do? Do I shake his hand? Like, who is this guy? Like, I don't know. You're like, obviously he's not your dad.
No.
Or he's not like, he was older.
I didn't even know him. Like, I met him like a month prior.
Yeah. So I was like, well, like, bye.
Yeah. It was weird.
Yeah.
But then that night we spent New Year's together. So I guess, that was our first holiday together then. It was New Year's Eve.
Yeah. It was a party at my house.
Yeah.
You got to meet a lot of people.
I did. I was in Mystic for a couple of months, and then I was leaving. So me and Tom had like established we can't, like, this can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Because I'm moving back. I live in Florida. You are in college in Rhode Island, and you're from Mass. Like,
yeah. I had no reason. Like, I have no...
Yeah. Like, even though I think we both liked each other. We were just like...
I think we liked each other, right? Just a little bit.
I mean, I told you I love you. That's a fun story. I did tell you I loved you first.
Real quick. Like 3 months later.
Yeah.
I remember where I was. I was at the Pats parade. Patriots
I texted
parade.
you.
Yeah.
Love ya.
Love ya.
YA.
I was like, love you too. As I'm like sitting on like this air mattress, and I was like, okay.
I know.
I was a little bit shocked, but go on.
I know. I don't know. I felt it. I had to say it. Anyway, because I was moving, I was like, okay, well, I'm never going to see him again, whatever. So I came up with a little scheme, and I was like, well, I know I could see him again if I convinced him to go to Rolling Loud, which is a music festival in Miami that happens once a year. Mm-hmm. And it's in May. And I think I left in January or February. I don't remember.
You left in like March. April.
Really?
Yeah, you left later.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it was.
Your mom got an extension.
Right. So it was only like a couple months apart.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna like convince him to go. Didn't take much convincing. You were like, yeah, I'm down.
I was also in that mood of like, never say no.
Yeah.
Like always say, unless it's like something stupid. Yeah. But just try to just have as much experience as you can. And
so leaving, I knew I would see you again, but I didn't know like what to expect of it, you know? So come May, you flew down.
Yep.
Picked you up from the airport, and then me, you, and one other girl.
Yeah, just the three of us.
Just the three of us went to Miami. Mm-hmm. And I think you stayed longer, so like we spent some time in like my hometown in Florida.
Yeah, I don't know if it was more before or after.
I don't either.
I don't really remember the other
I don't
side.
Either. But
so like that whole situation was so traumatizing.
Yeah.
Traumatizing. Yeah.
But anyway, we get to Rolling Loud, so we're in Miami, and I'm like hyping it up to Tom. I'm like, this is going to be so much fun because I had been to the previous 2 years, so I was like, oh, this is such a fun experience. Like, I'm so excited for you to have this or whatever. And then we get there, night one. We're standing in line, or not in line, but we're like in a crowd.
Late. Yeah, this is the last two. Like Travis Scott. Is it Travis Scott's on? Oh no, Travis Scott was first night, and then this was the night that it was like the fake shooting, right?
But this is the night I passed out.
Was that the first day?
That was the first day.
God, that was a horrible day.
I know. It was the first day.
Yeah.
So the very first day, we're like in a crowd, and I think mixing like I was drinking. I hadn't had a lot of water, and I hadn't had a lot of food, and so I just like passed out, and then that like made me so anxious.
Yeah, as normally it would for anyone.
Yeah.
And
so
like, me and your friend were just like, what the hell's going on?
I know.
We were so close to the stage.
I know.
Because we're trying to see Juice WRLD, and if anyone knows Juice WRLD, he's dead now.
I'm sorry. I didn't do it, but
he died like a couple months later.
I know. Trust me, I wanted to be there too. Mm-hmm. But I ended up passing out, and then we left, and like as we were leaving, we hear like pops. This wasn't the fake shooting. This was the real shooting.
No. It was the Travis Scott concert starts.
No, this was I'm talking day one.
This is day one.
No, that was not day one.
That's 100% day one.
No, because we left. After I passed out, we left. We were like, we gotta leave.
Yeah.
And so we walk out of the venue. Okay. We're on the streets of Miami, and there's a drive-by shooting.
Yeah, I know.
That was night one.
That was night one?
I
have it all together in my head.
No.
Yeah, I remember I took you and your friend and just like pushed you into the bushes.
No. Yeah, I know.
When the shooting was going by, and I was like, oh my God. And then the cops were circling.
I know.
Helicopter.
What a night. So anyway, we go back home. Oh, I also lost my phone. So that was
when
annoying.
You passed out.
Yeah,
So
I like dropped it because I passed out.
Yep.
So I think it was day 2. I didn't go. Or did I go?
You went day 2, but you were like out of it.
Okay, I went day 2, but I was like not having fun. I was like sitting on the sidelines. I felt really bad because I like hyped this up to you. You came to go with me, and then I was like, I can't hang.
I said it was traumatizing, but I had a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. I just felt bad for you because you were definitely out of it.
I was not living my best life at all.
No, you were not. You were like, I don't want to go in the crowds just in case I might pass out again. And I completely understand.
And then day 2 was the fake shooting.
I don't know what it is when people are in a lot of big crowds. They're like decide to cause pandemonium.
And someone just yelled like gun or something.
It wasn't even near us. It was like Travis Scott was on. It's like midnight. He's the last person performing. He's loud, and then he like looks to the right. You remember this? He like looks to the right and like he stops singing, and it goes like quiet, and you can hear like screaming.
Yeah.
And then you look to your left because like stage right, our left. It's like the whole peripheral of our vision is just a wall of people, and we're not close to the stage. We're like really far back because again we're like.
I was like, I can't get up there.
Travis Scott wouldn't be someone you want to get close to.
No.
So they're just running at it every like thousands, and like there's 100,000 people in this venue. It's not a small place.
No.
So it's just like a stampede.
Yeah.
So me and your friend run, and then I
froze.
A couple of 100 feet later, I look around and I'm like, "Where's Maggie?"
I fully
and then
froze.
I'm like, "Oh God, we lost her."
Yeah.
And that was like my heart sunk. I was like, "Oh, she's like."
Shout out to like the random men who like literally like picked me up and like ran with me because I was like.
You just like literally stiffened up.
I did. Well, because in my head, so before it happened, Travis was saying something like, "This is for the people to the right. This is for the people to the left."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Damn, these people really want to come to our side."
It's like, yeah, they are really on their way. No.
And then it hit me, and I was like, freeze. So, and then day 3, I like didn't even go. So you were stuck going alone
with this girl I just met.
Yeah, and I met this like random dude because I was like, I didn't want to like deter you from having fun, and like we weren't in a relationship, we weren't dating, it was nothing serious. So I was like, you go do your thing. I'm gonna like
it's like an unspoken thing.
Literally sit over here, And so like I was like sitting by myself and like kept having like random dudes come up to me to be like, "You good? What's up?"
Attractive, cute blonde girl by herself.
Sitting there like dying.
And I'm like, I walk over and I'm like a little jealous. I'm like, who the hell are these people?
Yeah, because whenever you guys came over, I was like surrounded by like these 4 like random dudes.
Yeah, and I'm like,
But they were actually pretty chill. They like hung out with me for a couple hours, and then the friend that we were there with became friends with like them.
Yeah.
So it was like all of you guys.
Yeah,
together.
we had like they were young. They were.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they were like.
They were in high school. They were really
16.
Young. Yeah, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
So I'm like this 21-year-old hanging out with these like kids, and their dad's there. By the way, you never met the dad.
No.
So the 3rd day, it's me and her friend and those random kids.
Yeah.
It's also raining that day. It's thunder and lightning. So the whole festival didn't even get started until like 4 p.m. Mm-hmm. It's in Miami, so it's in a Hard Rock Stadium. So it's just us in the stadium waiting, and it's just like thousands of people are just sitting. Like I'm assuming most of them are hammered.
Yeah, I would assume.
And then like it's like, okay, let's get started, and like everything's soaked. Like if you're going to the grass, it's muddy, and then like we're going, it's a mess. And
I feel like you had a lot of fun that day though.
Well, that day I went off by myself and saw Playboi Carti and then Lil Uzi Vert back to back. I was close because I didn't have anyone to worry about, so I just got like all the way up there. If I did that again, I think I'd have a panic attack.
Right?
Because it was like shoulder to shoulder, nowhere to go.
And you're just getting tossed.
Oh, I got rocked. I got absolutely destroyed in that mosh pit multiple times. I'll never forget there was like mosh pits opening up like randomly. If you were trying to get close, you'd like go through one. People would just like shove you into them. Oh. And like there was one scenario where it was Lil Pump playing. I don't know where he went. I was jumping up and down on the like outskirt of the mosh pit, and some guy behind me like pushes me max like in my like apex of my jump in like the top like my neck, So I just go face first into this mosh pit and land on the ground. And thanks to that guy, or like the young kid, he like shoved that kid like into the mosh pit. I was like, oh, thank you. He's like, I got you,
Good
dude.
for something.
I know, right? I got like scratched up, but.
Were you mad at me?
No, I felt bad. I felt like she paid all this money.
It's expensive.
It's like $500-$600 for a ticket.
Yeah.
And like, you just kind of chilled like in the hotel room. Like, what did you do?
I remember I was also really sad because I was like bummed because I think it was just like the anxiety of like, oh, what if it happens again? That was really like tearing me down. And like the reason why like day 3 I was just like, I'm not going. Like I'm just not going.
It's like it would just cause you more harm.
Yeah. So I remember I ordered a shit ton of benihana and I just laid in bed and had a feast and took lots of naps. So yeah.
We got back late too. Because I remember it was like we could not find an Uber.
Yeah, I remember I was like so sad though. I felt such bad FOMO.
The FOMO must have been.
The FOMO I was feeling, I was like. But I was also like, I don't want to go. Why couldn't he have stayed? No, I wasn't gonna make you stay.
Would you make me stay now?
Yeah. If that happened today, you'd be staying back with me.
Okay. That's
well,
fine.
I don't know. It depends, but like, depends how I felt, you know.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah. That's our Rolling Loud story. And that was May. And I guess like during that trip we decided we liked each other because you booked another trip to come see me again.
Like a month later.
And like that's a whole story too. But I don't want to like...
Is that...
That's the Key West.
Oh yeah, that's a whole like episode.
I know. It is. It really is.
In itself.
So I don't want to like get too much into the like nitty gritty of it all. But basically during that trip is when... we decided to go to Key West on a whim. Tom was taking a shit and was like, let's go to Key West. And I was like, yeah. And then you actually booked it.
Yep. It was still in that phase of like, I had no responsibilities.
You were fun. You were so spontaneous.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is that I like to be spontaneous. And then that's the thing is when you grow up, you start to have responsibilities.
I know.
Especially with the animals.
I know.
It's just kind of like,
I don't. But it was also different. Like in Florida, like I just had like, not my neighbor, but like my mom's friend who like she'd been friends with for years, just watch them.
You're not like in a city
where like here we don't have that. We don't have like people that we like know and trust.
It was also just Maui.
Yeah, it was just Maui until on our way home from that trip is when we got Moon.
Oh, I'm so happy to have you.
I know. Well, that whole day is like honestly a whole story. We woke up.
Yeah, that was just. We're gonna tell the story.
I'm going to tell it summarized because I'm quicker than you.
Yeah. I'm listening.
Okay. So we woke up in the morning and I was covered in bug bites. And I still don't know what it was, but I was like literally covered and itching so bad that on the drive home we had to stop and get like medicine, like creams to put all over it because it was. I took like Benadryl. Like.
Yeah.
I was like struggling. And you really, really wanted to go to Topgolf. And there was one.
I was leaving soon. I remember.
Yeah, and it was like, well, we're not going to drive back to Miami, so we might as well go now. Yeah. You know, and so we did. We went to Topgolf. Tom got a little tipsy. I didn't because I was taking Benadryl and not 21.
Yeah, it was also. It was literally a 6.5 hour drive from Key West to Miami, so that's a whole day in itself. Yeah. And then go to Topgolf. Your car got hit.
Oh my God, I forgot about that. We're in the parking lot and my car, like someone was pulling out at the spot next to us and just fully went into my car, which was just like a whole thing too. And I was like, God, fuck this day, dude. Like, what the hell?
Well, it wasn't fuck this day. It was like, this day could not get any crazier.
Yeah. And then as we're sitting at the table, I'm like, you know what? I wonder if I checked Craigslist right now if there would be.
Why? Like,
because I got Maui there.
I'm so confused. Like how like your brain was working where you're just like, I found a really cute puppy, like, and we're out like.
I think it was during the drive. Like I was just bored and we were in the car and I was like, oh, let me see, you know. I
can see that. Yeah, 6
because
hours.
Because at that point in time, like I did really want another one, not necessarily that day, but like I really did want one because I was like, I want Maui to have like a sibling or whatever.
Yeah. She deserves a sibling.
Yeah,
she's the best dog in the world.
She's the best. Yeah. So we. Basically, more of the story, we end up getting Moon.
Yeah. It's funny because you're looking at me and you're like, I can't believe you made me go on a tangent already when I said it would be a quick story.
I know. So that's just wild that we got a dog together.
I know. It's like we had hardly...
And then you left like 2 days later, and I was stuck with this puppy who was absolutely freaking horrible. Moon was the worst puppy I've ever been around.
You called me crying so much. I feel terrible.
She was so bad.
Well, it's also, I want to say that I bought the dog.
You did.
Because I said you're going to reimburse me, right? And you're like, yeah, I'll reimburse you. And I was like, okay, cool. Also, she was pretty cheap.
She's like $300 cash.
Yeah, cash. And then I was like, this is your dog. You want this dog. I'm going to get it for you because I like you. Arguably love you. And then...
Arguably. We were definitely like, I love you at that point.
When I think of like that time, it was like we weren't dating. So it was kind of like this like, I love you, but like we're not dating because we live so far away. And it's like that really kind of...
blurred.
We're aware of how much effort it would be to actually like have a relationship. Clearly we were both ready to do it. Yeah. But yeah, I was like, you're gonna get this dog. Like I'm not gonna be here for it. Like I hope you're ready for it. And I don't think you even told your mom.
I didn't. Which
is so crazy.
We also got tattoos that trip.
Oh my god, we did.
We got tattoos.
We're just reckless.
Because I remember I told my mom, I sent her a picture of my tattoo and my dog.
Oh my god.
And I was like, look what I did.
Yeah.
She was like, oh my god.
Yeah, it's like, you're the worst.
She probably thought you were like the worst influence ever.
Well, I was so nice to her and she loved me.
She did like you. She's always liked you.
Still does.
Still does.
Yeah. And then what happened after this? Like there's so many things I forgot just because of like how compact. Like this has only been 6 months.
I know. I feel like we can move on though. Like you left. I was stuck with Moon.
Yeah. We could do
whatever. There were lots of visits in between. Like I think I came there next.
I think so.
I don't know. I think that we went a while without seeing each other. We went like a few months. And we were like, oh, I miss you, you know? Because at this point, we were FaceTiming literally every day, like multiple times a day.
I remember there was times like we'd fall asleep on FaceTime and I'd wake up and I'd be like, I'd like roll over and I would just see like a blank screen or whatever.
Bless you.
So I'd see like a blank screen or whatever, and it would just be like this light snoring. And because I was still like, I think this was back when I was going to school again, and I was like, wow.
Wow.
Like...
That was your thought?
She actually didn't hang up because like I had to go to sleep eventually, but you were like,
I would just go to sleep too.
Yeah, we would go to sleep with each other, which is kind of cute.
Yeah, it was cute. So we did a lot of that. Mm-hmm. And then
I guess we could flash forward to January 2021.
Well, we should kind of talk about when we decided to become official.
Oh yeah.
Because at some point we did.
I forgot.
But we're actually not dating, guys.
Yeah,
we're actually pals.
We never really, we're just roommates.
Yeah. So I came to visit you for like 3 weeks, and like during that time period is when we decided to become official. Mm-hmm. So
here we are.
Yeah. I don't know. We dating.
We became official towards the end of it.
Mm-hmm. There was definitely an ultimatum.
Definitely, yeah. But I respect the tag, you know?
Well, I was getting tired, like, of the bullshit of, like...
We were, like, avoiding it because we had been seeing each other so much.
I know.
And, like, those 3 weeks, like, it proved that we can get along for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Like, you're, literally living with me. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of, like, I never really knew how we would turn out, essentially, because it's different when you live... you know, literally 1,300 miles away.
Yeah. And
I'd have to fly down and see for 2 weeks, and like we're both on our like A game, right? Like we're like, I don't see this guy or this girl too much, so it's like I can actually like put all my attention towards them. Whereas like if we were living near each other, it'd be like some days I'd be like, oh, I don't really like, you know what I mean? Like there's like there's little things that you really wouldn't plan for with long distance. So once we actually hung out for a long time, for like a long, 3 weeks, oh, this girl is super chill. We can cohabitate, like, live together.
Yeah.
Let's make it official. Mm-hmm. And then, like, a month and a half later? No. It's a whole nother year after that.
Yeah.
I'm skipping stuff.
We were long distance for a year. And
COVID.
That was COVID.
Yeah.
But during that time, we were, like, still seeing each other. I think it did get kind of difficult because of COVID, like, to fly to each other.
Yeah. We flew up. As the pandemic started, it was, like the ready, set, go kind of moment where, like, everything shut down. You hopped on a flight.
I didn't know, you know.
It's so
it was
funny.
Like a couple days before that, people were like, "Oh, you should wear a mask," and so like I was wearing a mask, but I didn't like. no one knew what it was going to be.
Yeah, it was like, wear a mask, and you're like, okay, it's the least I can do. And it was like, no one's outside shopping anymore. You're like, this is strange. Like, I don't know how full your flight was. Was it like full?
No, I remember I had a whole row to myself.
Yeah, it was been nice.
And I was like, wow.
Yeah, and then you spent like 2 weeks with me, and we just didn't go anywhere. We had nowhere to go.
We couldn't do anything. Like, that was when, like, you couldn't even go to, like, the grocery. Like,
I mean, we didn't know at the time.
Yeah. But I feel like ever since we became official, it, like, definitely changed a little bit. Like, in the sense that once we...
what are you trying to say?
I don't know.
You're going to be like, oh, it changed for the worse.
No, it changed for the better. But, like, when we weren't official, we were, like, kind of just, like... Not playing games, but we were definitely...
I know what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
It's like, there's a reason we didn't have the tag. Because it was like, we still wanted to do single things. I was still in college. So
okay, well, Tom still wanted to do single things. Maggie was ready to settle down.
Yeah. Well, you were this cute blonde girl from Florida. It was really far away. And I was like, I can't have a relationship with someone far away. I could not wrap my head around it. Yeah. I do take, like, blame for, like, being like, I don't know how to deal with this. Like, I can FaceTime you every night, but, like, I can't, like, kiss you good morning, or, you know, I can't do all these things that normally
it's just, like, fair. But, like, it definitely was, like, a little toxic in the beginning.
But once we made it official, I was like, this is my girl.
Yeah. No
more games. Like, no more going out to, like, bars or whatever like that and just, like, disappearing. And then... I mean, I cleaned up my act.
I do think it's funny, like, a story that I always think about, and you can tell me if you don't want me to talk about this, but I think it's funny that, like, the one time you were, like, at a bar, and I texted you, like, I love you or something.
Oh, God. This you can leave this in.
And I don't remember if it's, like, a girl I know of or not, but she was like, who's that?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, no one.
I remember, wow, did I get really sweaty in here? No, I remember it was, she like leaned over and like saw the text, and I was like, oh, it's like one of my friends. Like, you know, you say I love you to one of your friends. She's like, yeah. I was like, that's it.
What an idiot.
I know.
Oh, anyway.
Yeah. That was like months before we started dating.
Yeah. And then we were long distance.
Again, for like 2020, like the whole time. And I think we saw each other a good, like, healthy amount. Like, it was like every, like...
We would try to do at least every, like, 2 months, you know?
If it got to 2 months, it got a little too much. I don't think it ever got more than 2 months, because I remember it was like...
I think one time it got to, like, 3 months, and we were like...
Yeah, we're like, oh my God.
We got to see each other.
I know.
Yeah.
I do remember that. I was like, this is unbearable.
Yeah.
I think that was the time you came down for 3 weeks, though.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's all a little bit of a blur.
I don't remember much either, because, like, again, it was COVID. And now, like, in that year, it was like, we were like 1 month you'd come up and 1 month I'd go down. And it was more so that towards, like, the later, like, before you moved in with me.
Yeah.
Before that, it was just me visiting you.
Yeah. And then December 2020
yeah,
is when you came down. We packed up all my stuff.
Yeah.
And I moved in with you.
Yeah, into my frat house.
Yeah, I mean, I call it a frat house because it was frat boys in a house.
Yeah. I think it was
very It was
tame.
5 people, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Again, I was still in college. Like,
was it 5 or 4?
It was 4.
4.
Including you 5.
5, yeah.
And 2 dogs. Because you brought the dogs with you.
Of course I brought the dogs with me. They're my babies.
I know. I was happy to have them. I was like, this is the life I'm signing up for. Like, I know what I'm doing here.
Yeah. That is something I want to talk to you about, is, like, just the adjustment. Like, what from your standpoint, even though I know, like, how was it?
It was hard. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's hard to live with someone like new, especially with, like, your, you know, future significant other.
Yeah.
Because you go from it just being essentially about you, just yourself, and then now it's like,
well, and being long distance, like, we didn't have the luxury of just, like, driving to each other's houses and hanging out ever. Yeah. Like, it was like a planned thing, and now we were, like, living together.
I, like, obviously appreciate the time to myself. I'm sure everyone does. It's like, it's just a healthy thing to do. And then it just became us 24/7. And there was that, like, I wouldn't say it was, like, the smoothest adjustment, like, in the beginning. Like, I wouldn't say, like,
no.
It's that way, especially when you're kind of just thrusted into, like, you were just literally plopped into, like, this house in Rhode Island with 2 dogs. And I had a lot of fun. Yeah. But there was, like, now I got to wake up a little early and, like, got to let the dogs out. Like, that was something new. I never had animals growing up.
That's, like, a whole adjustment in itself.
Yeah. again, going back to like spontaneous stuff.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, I can't just go send it to Florida for 2 weeks. I gotta like figure out the dog situation.
Has to be planned.
Yeah. Which is just adulting. That's just what it is. I can't have someone be like, hey, do you want to like go here for this long? And I'm like, well, I have a job now, and like I have animals.
You have children.
I have children. You know, I go like how far is the drive? How much money is it? Like my parents aren't paying for it.
No.
So.
Yeah, I definitely was struggling too.
Mm-hmm.
Moving to a whole new state where I didn't know anyone except you. It was hard in the beginning. I just remember, I don't know how long into like after I moved in, but I just remember like being in the bathroom crying.
Yeah.
Being like, I want to go home.
I remember the first night.
That was the first night?
I don't know that one specifically. I don't know if you cried alone. I wasn't there.
No, it was with you. That was night
that was night one. Well, you like, we'd driven 24 hours from Florida all the way up to Rhode Island. And like the first thing, it was in the afternoon, and like we had to go to sleep. Yeah. And it was like, okay, well, let's go shower. So we like go to the bathroom, get ready for bed, and you're like, I want to go home. And I was like, my heart sunk. I was like, all this for like, are you serious? Like I was like, I fucked up. Like well, not fucked up like in our relationship wise. I mean, like I just fucked over this girl's like life. You know what I mean? Like I just pulled her out of Florida and just thought that she could like just dropped her in here.
It's not that I necessarily like loved Florida and I didn't want to be there. I think it was just like the feeling of being so unfamiliar and like not feeling at home. And I don't think that moving into like where I moved into like helped, because it was like, it wasn't your home either.
It wasn't.
It was just like a college house with like
it was a nice
roommates, which I had never lived with like roommates, you know? So it was just like weird. It was, all of it was a lot. It was definitely an adjustment, but I feel like I did adjust like
quickly, I would say.
Somewhat quickly, you know?
Definitely.
Relatively.
I mean,
I definitely still struggled though. I was like,
I mean, who wouldn't, right?
You know? And it was hard too because I wasn't 21 and you were. And
I was.
You were. You're like, I wasn't. You were like 22 or 23.
Yeah, all my friends were also 21 too, so it was like, oh yeah, let's like.
Everyone wanted to like go out and I like couldn't. Yeah. And it was like, I felt like really left out because like obviously like you still wanted to live your college life, so like you would go out sometimes and I would just sit at home alone like.
Yeah. Well, for the record, it was my super senior year. I already lived out my college like life, I guess, so to speak.
You had your 4 years.
I had my 4 years. Now I'm doing a victory lap. Yeah. It was for computer science, by the way, so it wasn't like some communication. I don't know. Yeah. So it wasn't like. We weren't like partying all the time either. Like if we wanted to go out, we wanted to go out to a bar because like I don't want to have a house party because like when you get a little older and you've done house parties, you're kind of like they're just not the same. It's kind of hard to.
No, and I like get that, but
it's
I couldn't go out, you know, and so I was kind of just like stuck.
Yeah.
There. Not that you went a lot, like.
No.
I definitely was like, no, you like don't go, don't leave me.
What was good was that one of my friends was not a bartender. He was the bouncer.
Yeah, so there was like one place I could go.
It was two places.
Well, there was another place that just like never covered you.
Yeah. The place did not care at all.
No.
So we went there most of the time for going out drinking.
Yeah, but if it was like anywhere else, I'd be like, I can't. And I think that that's where you struggled too. Because you obviously wanted to. Yeah. But then you felt like you couldn't because I was there and I didn't want to hold you back, but I also didn't want to like sit alone on like a Friday night. It was like tough. It was a tough like transition.
I think it matured us a lot to like being like, because you were like, there were some days where you're like, go out with your friends, like go have fun. And I was like, I never had a girlfriend that ever told me to like, just because most time people, they get a little bit, you know.
I still wanted you to have fun, but I obviously was like sad. Like I got like FOMO, you know.
Yeah, well, there's nothing I could do. I couldn't like. It's not like you were like.
It's not like I wasn't invited. You know what I mean? Exactly. Like if I could have gone, I would have. Yeah. You know? It's like you like. Which is different.
Literally could.
Like if they were like, I don't want her to go, then I'd be like, oh, you're not going.
Oh, I'd be like, you guys are my friends.
Yeah. But fast forward, how long did we live there?
3 months.
3 months.
Exactly, because the day that we got kicked out because I signed a lease when it said no animals, and you remember our 2 dogs, which I'm assuming you can hear in the background.
And to be motherfucking clear before I moved in. I made it very clear that I wanted all of the roommates and the landlord to be okay with me moving in and the dogs moving in. And you said, we're good.
Yeah.
So I did. Right. And then...
I also want to clarify that you wanted to get the hell out of Florida at this time.
Oh, I was like struggling. I was like, get me out of here. And like...
It wasn't like I was lying to be like, hey, you need to come up here now. Like, I need you. It was like, you were like, get me the hell out of here.
Yeah, I was like,
we can do this now.
I need to get out of here.
Yeah.
And it was like, well, I mean, I know we were going to do it eventually, so might as well do it now. Yeah. You know? Like, it just kind of like happened, you know? It was pretty quick. Like, it wasn't super thought out, but...
Parents knew. Everyone knew.
Everyone knew. It's not like I ran away, you know? Yeah. Like, everyone knew what was going on. Mm-hmm. It was just like a little fast.
Yeah.
Which is fine. But yeah, St. Patrick's Day.
St. Patrick's Day, 2021.
We go to Newport to go like out and just like spend, like go to the parade, like have a like day, you know? And we're like, oh, we're going to be gone all day. We'll just leave them out of the crate because we had a crate that like usually they would go in if we were like going to the grocery or something. But we knew
no one was home. Right.
Yeah, when we knew, we were like, we're definitely not going to be home in the next 6 hours, so we'll just let them roam.
Of course.
Which, like, was fine.
Well, we would let Maui roam. It's just this one next to me right now, Moon, she's
destructive.
She has a little bit of a chaos streak.
Yeah. She has a little...
She's coming out of it now.
Something going on in that brain.
Yeah.
So...
A little something.
So we leave them out. The landlord shows up, unannounced. Peeks through the windows.
By the way,
sees the dogs.
Almost, it's like as close to illegal as you can.
It's like teetering for sure.
It's like you cannot go to a rental property if you're like the landlord without a 24-hour notice.
But he didn't go in.
He didn't go in.
Yeah.
He went fucking close.
He was like, peeking through the windows.
He was peeking through all the windows, which, by the way, if I saw this gnome-looking guy walking around the house, I'd be like, what the fuck? Get out of here.
He was definitely tipped off, though, 100%, because we had them in the backyard. They were, like, running around, like, they had escaped. They were, like, running through the neighborhood, you know? Like, he definitely... Someone told him.
They were like, hey, did you know that your house has dogs in it?
Or they're like, oh, his dogs at your house are so cute. And he's like, what dogs?
I totally get it from a landlord's perspective.
Oh, yeah.
Like, having dogs show up and you don't want dogs in the house, like, I get
And they're
it.
big dogs. They're not, like, little Yorkie teacups, you know? Like,
they're two big huskies.
Yeah.
And,
I would be pissed, too. Like, I totally understand it, but...
Fuck that guy.
Fuck that guy. We had just sat down at a nice restaurant to get lunch with, like, our group of friends. Mm-hmm. We were like, oh, it's going to be such a good little lunch, whatever.
A few beers in.
We get a call from Mazika, right?
Yeah. I don't
Who
know if
called
it was a text.
first?
Oh, I didn't get a text or call from the landlord at all.
It was just Mazika.
He didn't want anything to do with me.
Okay.
It was just Mazika. I can't remember if he texted or called. I think he called. He was like, he found out about it, and I was like, no fucking way. Like, I started like yelling in the restaurant a little bit because he was like a little tipsy. Because I knew at that moment that was it. It was like
there was no way we could come back from that.
I couldn't be like, hey,
please,
can we just stay like, or at least had 2 more months on it or something.
Yeah.
I'd already paid it, and it was like.
And he gave us
72 hours.
Yeah, like it was quick. Like so he was like, get the hell out of here.
Hey mom, hey dad, coming home.
We had nowhere to go. I mean, like, what were we supposed to do? You know?
I mean, that was the backup plan, was to go to my... It wasn't like the backup plan. It was the next step in it, was to go to my parents' house. Mm-hmm. I know that you wanted to move, like, to our own place at the time, but, like, I had an internship at the time. I guess that's kind of what we could lead into, was that so after we got kicked out, we went to my parents' house, and then it was supposed to be more seamless of, like, going from...
We were supposed to be there like a couple months, you know?
Yeah. And then I had an internship as a software engineer at this super tiny company. Mm-hmm. And I just had a miserable time with it. And they kept telling me that I was going to get a job. They were like, oh, like, we're going to hire you. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm only being paid hourly. It was a great rate for an intern.
Yeah.
I had no work. So I had, like, no cash flow. I mean, I was getting some money, but I had to do work that was given. I wasn't given any work. Mm-hmm. That was just a miserable time.
It was horrible.
It was terrible.
And it was not a steady income. And at that time, like, because I had nannied in Florida too, I was like, oh, okay, I'll just like nanny. And like I did find a family once we were in your hometown.
Pretty quickly.
Yeah.
You found jobs like that everywhere we went.
Mm-hmm. Like, I had a job in...
You had a job in Rhode Island.
Rhode Island,
you
too.
You had a job instantly when we went to my hometown.
Yeah.
You had a job instantly when we moved to Boston.
I know.
Like, you don't have an issue with jobs.
I know. But it's still stressful.
Yeah.
Because right now I'm in the same boat where like my contract is ending. I'm not staying with the families because of like just things like...
Well, they're older now.
I just like can't stay with them, you know?
They're only have to be nannied like as, you know, infants.
Yeah, like they're gonna go to like school.
We've been here for almost 2 years now.
I know. So I'm in the same boat, but I'm not like super stressed.
Yeah. So it was supposed to be we move into our own apartment, preferably in Boston. I got lied to about getting a job, so I had this like idea that we'd be able to afford an apartment, and then, you know, we were at my parents' house for 9 months.
9 months.
I didn't hate it.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
I think you did. You hated it more than I did.
We were both pretty miserable because we were like, well, you had like just finished college, you were living like the college life, and then you go home to your parents' house with a girlfriend and 2 dogs.
Yeah.
It's different.
It's an adjustment.
And
more
then,
adjustments after adjustments.
I know. And I was living with your parents. Like, it's just like, it was like not ideal in any sense. Mm-hmm. Like, obviously we love them and they're like great parents.
They miss us from like, I think they had a lot better time than like...
I think they miss us now that we're gone.
Miss us. Yeah. They
but
miss
like,
their dogs too.
Once when we were there, I think they were kind of like, all right, you know? But now, obviously, we got our own place, which is where we are right now.
Yep.
February of
2022. So not almost 2 years, but like almost a year and a half.
Almost a year and a half. And we love it. We live in Boston. Mm-hmm. You got a good job.
I did.
You're now working as a cybersecurity engineer.
Yes.
Yeah.
You got the whole thing. I thought you were just going to leave it at that.
Wow.
Because usually when you tell people, you're like, cybersecurity.
When people ask what he does, I'm like, tech.
I don't know what I do.
Tech something. I feel like it was another adjustment when we moved in together in our own place, because it was also like, although you had lived like outside of your parents' house and stuff, you were in college houses where like they supplied furniture and like everything like that, where when we moved in here we like started from scratch. Like we genuinely, we had nothing, you know. Luckily, like I think your parents gave us some stuff, my parents gave us, like my mom like helped out a lot, and it was just like,
thank you, Facebook Marketplace.
Thank you, Facebook Marketplace. Yeah. Basically everything in this apartment is from Facebook.
At this table that we're recording on, the chairs we're sitting in.
This table was on the side of the road.
The table was free.
This table was for free.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I feel like
I think all of these things made us really strong together.
I know.
Just like having, I think also like moving out of like the college life for me personally was like,
that was an adjustment of in itself.
For everyone. Like anyone who's gone to college can understand, like that is like, because you go from what's not a real world at all. Mm-mm. Not like, that's not real life, college life, depending on how you do it. And then you go to real life. You're no longer...
You have a job, you have responsibilities, you pay like rent, you have like...
Yeah, but we'd already like did that almost when we moved in with each other. Like we were like... all these responsibilities that piled on. Like I don't know how it would have been if I had just like, if you had moved in and I had a job and we just moved in.
Like if we moved in together now. Like I also like we would not have lasted long distance for like 3 years.
Yeah, it's true. But we had to do what we had to do.
Yeah, and I don't regret it. Yeah. Do I like kind of wish that we had like our shit together a little more when I initially moved? Yeah.
I mean, who
I
think we
like if we could skip like living with your parents, that'd be great. But like it also like definitely made us stronger, and like
without it we wouldn't be who we are now.
No, and I think it also just made like, I know a lot of people are like, oh, when you move in together it's like really hard, but because we lived there when we moved in here, it was like a breeze.
It was so easy.
I know, we were like, all right, when are we gonna fight? You know?
Nope. It's like I said before, it's like if all those things that we went through might individually sound like shit to some people, maybe. Or maybe that's like, that sounds great.
And like, trust me, there were breaking points where we were like,
as every relationship
should we quit?
does.
Like, this is like getting tough.
Yeah. I mean, you put your relationship out there, it's like, no relationship is perfect.
No.
Obviously.
We could do a whole episode on like just relationship advice and like.
I think I got a good fair share of advice.
You've had some fun relationships.
Yeah. So well, you had one, but I think all your past experiences make you who you are today. I think our relationship, in terms of like living together here in Boston, has been flawless. Like there's literally been nothing wrong.
I mean, even when we were in like our difficult spots, we never fight. Like we're not like fighting, like
we're just mature. We're just like if I'm angry or you're angry, like
we talk about it.
We talk about it. We communicate very well. Yeah. If say like, for example, if you get pissed off and then I just come in like just spitting bullshit like I usually do, and you're like fuck off, I'm like okay, like I know it's not directed at me.
We don't we don't add each other on. You know what I mean? Like we're like some people like love that, and we like are like no.
Or it's like if I'm mad or something, and you say something to me, and I like if I snap or something, you're not like he's mad at me. Like I gotta go. I'm mad at him now. Like fuck him for doing that. You're like oh he's just upset about something. Yeah. He's not upset with me. He's just upset at the world because like we live with each other now. It'd be weird if we were happy 24/7. You know.
If you were like 24/7 just smiling, I'd be like, oh my god, this fucking weirdo.
Yeah, you'd be like, God, he just doesn't shut up all the time. He's just always.
Well, I already think that. Well, I think that pretty much wraps it up for this week's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed getting the inside scoop of our relationship.
Yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed listening to me rant about some random stuff, go on tangents. Yeah. Hopefully I'm invited back, like I said.
Like, please invite me back.
Yeah. It's like everyone's gonna be like, that was a horrible episode.
No, I think people will like it because it's a different dynamic,
Definitely, yeah. I think we have a great dynamic. It's just
I think we're amazing.
I think we're cool.
We're pretty cool.
I think we're some cool people.
We're pretty cool. All right, well thanks for listening, and I'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.